Welcome back to the award-winning starting lineup. The Birmingham Racecourse Casino does it every single week. He's Kip Keefer, the legend. I am Tony Curry. We got a monster show to get into, a little over 100 days away from college football. Don't forget.
112.
Huh? 112? I thought it was 112 last week.
No. We were 119 last week. I've got it at 112.
Okay, so we're 112 again. So we've
it might be.
Because it was 112
right.
last week.
It's 105.
It's 105.
Okay. I've been absent all week.
Something over 100.
Something over 100. I said a little over 100, so we were close.
Too long.
Anyway, we're going to be having, of course, our show right before that ABC and SEC game network. It's going to be unbelievable. I think we had Georgia, Clemson kick off the season last year. We had Alabama, Tennessee, some monster games, 11 o'clock. And, of course, we'll be on right before from 10:30, 11 o'clock right here on ABC 3340. What we got in Kip Perspective today here in the starting
Kip
lineup?
Perspective is going to be an all-time showstopper. Got some major announcements. Going to set the stage for a fantastic year in what year is 16? Oh, no, 2026. I know what year it is. We're going to set the stage for everything coming up. So it is a can't-miss TV coming up on Kip Perspective.
Legend, let's go to the cave. What you got?
Well, Tony, a life-changing event happened to me about a week ago. My aunt called me a negative Nancy.
Yep.
And she challenged me to talk good about Alabama for a week. And I am in day 5. I've said nothing bad about Greg Byrne or Kalen DeBoer for 5 days. And on the 5th day, I'm going to continue it in the Legend Cave. I'm going to tell you what's good about Alabama. You heard me talk about what's bad about Alabama. Today, for a change, get everybody around the TV. You will hear Legend talk good about Alabama.
Legend continued to say last week, Tony, on Game Time, I love Kalen DeBoer and Greg Byrne.
Love DeBoer. Get a fathead of Greg Byrne said to me this week,
Consider you called him Kevin the first year he was there. I think
Kevin,
that probably
that's right.
You know, the thing about it is, though, the way I look at it is you're getting all the negative out now. So you only have positive things to say about the Alabama Crimson Tide because there will be nothing negative about the Crimson Tide once the season starts. Speaking of college football, there is something called youth sports. It's not something I was involved in. It's not something my kids are involved in, but I know a lot of parents out there who specialize in their children. Youth sports is a $40 billion industry, and now sports equity firms are getting involved, and we got this thing called vulture practices. You know what vulture practices are? If you do, you know what I'm going to be talking about. If you don't, I'm going to tell you about it coming up here in just a few minutes because it is killing youth sports. I'm one of those guys that loves the Little League World Series, but it just kind of makes me feel sick to my stomach to see all the advertising, all the money being made off these 8 and 9-year-olds. Why aren't we paying them?
It's all about the money.
Let's pay the Jimmies and Joes. Why not? Why aren't we? Why aren't we paying the high school kids? Why aren't we paying these 12-year-old kids to play baseball? The ESPN's making money. Everyone else is making money. Why shouldn't they make money? So we're going to find out about. We'll talk about it right here on Bone Fragments. Got up in just a few minutes. Lane Kiffin has something interesting to say you wanted to get into before we get to break. What do you got?
In Vanity Fair. Okay, first of all, he's interviewed in Vanity Fair, which is a left-wing rag to start with, but we won't get into political talk. But it's also a she fashion and trends and all that kind of stuff magazine. He's interviewed in Vanity Fair saying that it was difficult at Ole Miss because the whole Mississippi specter of racism, it was hard to convince parents and grandparents that their children, their recruits would be safe in the state of Mississippi. It was just a shot at Ole Miss that was completely unnecessary. Clearly, Legend, in my mind, he's just psychologically trying to justify how he just, them over.
Well, I'd just like to say Lane Kiffin had a birthday last week, and I would like to be the first to say here on national TV, happy 13th birthday, Lane.
The positive Legend.
Happy 13th birthday. You are one
13. Adolescent
delinquent, if I ever seen one.
You know, when he was the offensive coordinator at Alabama, he was kind of badass. He was kind of cool. I mean, he had
to save and slap his ass.
He had the hot wife. He was the California thing.
Well, he dumped the hot wife. He created a dating app character named Joey Freshwater when he got to Alabama.
Well, and
that was my dating.
And he probably got tired of Bruce Pearl hitting on his ex too. Now that, of course, he's left the West Coast and you know what I'm talking about. Left the West Coast and stuff. All of a sudden, he's got real soft. I don't know. I don't want my coach in Vanity Fair. You know what I mean? I don't want that. I don't like that. All right. We got a monster show for you today. We're going to be going out and talking to Case Keefer, of course, some of the great picks out of the West. We got Kipper Vision coming up here. I call it Kipper Vision because you're on television.
Kipper Vision,
Kipper Vision, like Kipper Vision.
Case has the winner of the PGA tournament coming up this weekend.
That is coming up as well. The Preakness is coming up. And, of course, so we got the legend and Bone Fragments all the way here, the Birmingham Racecourse Casino starting lineup.
Hey, it's Case Keefer back again for another edition of the Vegas Heaters as part of the starting lineup. I'm a longtime sports bettor, sports betting writer, and sports editor for Greenspun Media Group, which includes Las Vegas Sun and Las Vegas Weekly here in Las Vegas. And it's been a good week, at least for our futures positions since the last time we spoke in the segment. Our Oklahoma City Thunder, who I know was kind of chalky, but we got a really good price at the beginning of the year, doubled down going into the playoffs with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to win the NBA Finals MVP. This week, I thought we needed to focus on one sport. And yes, if you've ever watched the segment before, you know what it is. My bread and butter as far as betting goes. It is another major week. It is PGA Championship week on the golf circuit, and really looking forward to getting out at the PGA and seeing who comes through for us. We've been building a portfolio all year round. To recap, hopefully you bet some of these, but the 5 guys we already bet, starting at the lowest odds, I think we got Xander Schauffele at around 18 or 20 to 1. Don't remember the exact price give out. The 2 hottest guys on tour, Cameron Young and Matt Fitzpatrick, we both bet 25 to 1 and 30 to 1, respectively. A little longer shots. Went with Russell Henley, I believe it's 65 to 1 when we bet him, and Ludwig Abear, who I think also was there about the 28 to 1 range. Some of those have aged better than others. I got to think with now how I'm seeing the tournament, I don't necessarily love Fitz anymore. I think Cameron Young sets up great here. However, I'm a little bit worried. Just everyone seems on him, but this could be one he comes through. If not, I'd be looking for him at the U.S. Open here next month, closer to his home in New York. I think he could be good there, but I did add 2 more guys, one super long shot, one of the lower guys. So you're thinking lower guys, you're thinking you jumped on the Scotty Scheffler bandwagon. Every time we talk about the PGA Championship on the show, you even said we got to try to beat Scheffler. I'm definitely always worried to go against Scheffler. He was almost as high as 6 to 1 this week. I think that is so close to where you could take a nibble, but I did not go with him. I did not go with Rory McIlroy, who I'm just having a tough time getting out of my head. How much he kind of struggled last year after winning the Masters. I know he looked good last week in his first start since, but he also got a blister that supposedly was giving him trouble on his last practice day. So I'm trying to beat Rory as well. That brings us to who I think is probably the 3rd best player in the world right now. I know people don't want to hear it because he's been out there on LIV, but Jon Rahm, who I ended up on at the Masters. He really disappointed at the Masters, had a terrible first round. However, he did bounce back after that, made the cut on day 2. I think had a really strong day 3. Wasn't great on day 4, but you just look at the data, and this guy is still playing at such an exceptionally high level. I think it's kind of clouded, as I believe he's only won twice on LIV, although he's probably deserves at least 2 more wins there. I think the way I just described how I see the course playing, I think is really going to fit him. I bet him at 16 to 1. He also has a big wave advantage, which means nothing now by the time you're watching it. But I really was going for the AM PM guys. I think with some of the wind picking up on Friday, I think that was the way I was going for. Both Scheffler and Rory later in the day. I liked Rahm earlier in the day. I'm all over Rahm. I like him in matchups. I like him top LIV player. I like him to win the tournament. So he's in contention by the time you're watching this. I know we're now 2 rounds in. I'm all in on Jon Rahm. The other guy I added a long shot, Christopher Reitan, who won his first PGA Tour event last year. I bet him at 100 to 1 this week. Just a great player from the DP World Tour. Hits it really, really far, which again, I think is going to be valuable. He has that right wave split, so he's another guy I'm looking for. Those are the 7 guys on our PGA Championship card. I know it's kind of weird when the tournament's already started, but there's so many live wagering options. I love betting golf. Hope you do too. Those are some guys to look at. Maybe you can get in on the action here on the weekend. Thanks for checking out another edition of the Vegas Heaters. Let's see what the rest of the starting lineup has to say to finish off the show.
I want to thank the Woodhouse Day Spa, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Stuart Rowan, fantastic guy, very good friend of mine. We just had Mother's Day. Now, mamas, it's time to take care of your daddies. Father's Day is coming up in June. Don't think for a minute daddies don't like to get a good old rub down, a facial, maybe a pedicure, a baddie. You can get it done there at the Woodhouse Day Spa. They're fantastic. It is high-class stuff right there next to Saxon Summit. It is the Woodhouse Day Spa, birmingham.woodhousespas.com, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Next week, we're talking some toys here, my friend, from Sasquatch Toys and Comics. Seth Cosby will be right here in the studio. We've got a great little story that has to do with sports and toys. So we're going to put it together. We'll have it for you right here on Bone Fragments. Listen, I was 6'3" in high school. I couldn't dunk a basketball. I was a little uncoordinated. So I got into radio instead. I was asked to play college or high school football as a tight end. And then this guy named Dean Lape, who was the tight end for the Lakota Thunderbirds, came to me one night after school and said, if you try out for the football team, I'm going to beat your ass. And I said, I'm good. I'll just go do radio. I'm good because I want to mess with the football team, but they asked me to play football just because of my size. I never really played a lot of organized sports. We did have the Dairy Queen Dixieland series, which was down the street in Butler, Ohio. But for the most part now, we're finding out we have a $40 billion industry in youth sports. And now that private equity firms are getting involved, believe it or not only does it cost $3,000 for my daughter to take choir practice next year. She didn't make the team, and I hate it for her. It broke my heart. But, part of me was like, whew, wow. I mean, for parents who've got to go out and get 3 or 4 different jobs just so their kids can play travel ball, that's ridiculous. What are we doing? I mean, it's not about what's best for the kid or what's best for the family. It's how much money we can make for these teams. Now you got some private equity firms that are actually getting part of these travel teams, and they're telling them what hotels they have to stay in, what clothes they're allowed to wear, what time they need to be at the ballpark, and how long they got to stay afterwards. What are we doing? These are 12 or 13-year-old kids. I was mentioning earlier, man, I watched the Little League World Series, and it used to be great when it wasn't on television. The first time I saw a high school football score on ESPN Swimline at the bottom line, here we go. And that was like 17 years ago. I'm going to be doing a show on the opening drive about it, thinking, what are we doing? We're playing high school scores on ESPN. Listen, if you can make it on television and you can encapsulate it and make it rating-wise, then you're going to have something really, really special. They've been trying to do it with women's sports the last 3 or 4 years. It ain't working yet. I'm still not watching women's basketball. Sorry, Caitlin. I don't care. I'm not watching the WNBA. I don't care. You won 19-12 last night. I'm not watching it. You have a little work to do there. But I do love kids and sports. And I have 3 children. My one kid's got a black belt in Taekwondo. My other 2 don't necessarily want to play in organized sports. And I'm fine with that because I'm not a rich dad. I don't have $13,000, $14,000 a year. And God forbid your kid is actually good in the sport he's in, because if he's good in the sport, guess what? You're a travel daddy. You're buying yourself a new trailer, and you take a mom around, you're going to Orlando, you're going to Knoxville, you're going to Nashville, and they're 9 years old. What are we doing? How about the days where kids had absolutely nothing to do? We didn't give them anything to do. Summer vacation is here. Do me a favor. This summer, don't put your kids in camp. Don't go to VBS. Sorry, churches. Don't do something for your kid every single week. Well, we got this weekend. We got this weekend. How about giving it the whole summer, the whole 2.5 months, and say, go find something to do, because boring is good for kids. It makes them go out and find stuff to do. That's how we came up with dodgeball and kickball and homemade handball. We did this game called pickle, where we throw a ball back and forth. We were pickle before pickle was. We made up all these games. You know what? We played from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, never got tired. We always have found things to do during the summertime. So this summertime, give your kids a little bit of a break. There's a reason why our scores are coming down. It's because kids are given too much crap to do, and now we have to pay for them to do the crap. Don't do it. $40 billion industry, it's enough. And if you're going to do it, start paying the Little League kids. Get it done. That's Bone Preakness.
Hey, welcome to the Legend Cave, where few great men have ever been allowed. I'm talking Monty Bauer, Kip Keefer. I'm talking David Sears, Paul Feinbaum, Taylor Hicks. Hey, Ronnie Van Zant. Hey, Bear Bryant's back there behind me. And my aunt is a huge fan of Bear Bryant. She knows Bear everything you want to know about Bear Bryant. And I listen to my aunt. My Aunt Mary is one of the few people who can speak into my life and let you listen. I just don't listen to everybody. I'm sorry. I only listen to Game Time, Kip Keefer, and Paul Feinbaum on the radio. I don't listen to all them other folks. I listen to just a few people. And this past week, my aunt said, Legend, you are a negative Nancy. A negative Nancy. All you do is talk bad about your team. I haven't heard you say one good thing about your team in a year. And I'm ashamed of you. And I got to thinking, my Aunt Mary is absolutely right. We live in a country where everything is negative. All you hear about is the bad. On the news, dirty laundry, baby, like old Glenn Fry. We love dirty laundry. But I want to tell you something might shock you. Most people in America are good people. Most people in America ain't out to do bad. Most people in America ain't evil. There's good people in America. Most people in America are good and want to do good things. but we live in such a negative culture. But this past week when my Aunt Mary challenged me, a revolution happened in Legend's heart. It was like that show, The Scrooge that stole Christmas. My little black sports heart began to grow. And I love Coach DeBoer today. It's been 5 days, Aunt Mary, and I've said nothing about good things. I love Alabama. Listen, I come on here every week, want to slap people around. But the truth is, I love this team. I grew up with this team. This team, this helmet means something to me. And I ought to say good stuff about it and not just negative. You know, in life, you look out there, everybody's negative. Everybody's got a frown on their face. The other day, I went through a line at the grocery store with a smile, and the lady said, "What's wrong with you? You smiling." That's the way the world is. We ought to say something good. And there's good stuff to say about Alabama. Right now, Coach DeBoer is recruiting on a Nick Saban level. Right now, he is recruiting. He's got the best Elijah Haven, the best quarterback in the nation on the way. He's already recruited the best running back in the nation in Elijah Crowell. He just got a 4-star linebacker that Georgia and Texas wanted last week. Coach DeBoer is recruiting at a Nick Saban level. But we all know the key to it all is, can he keep them? Can he keep them? If he can keep them, Coach DeBoer has an opportunity of greatness at the University of Alabama. I know your ears are ringing. I can't believe it. Legend is talking good. Yes. I love Alabama. Don't make the mistake because I come on here every week slapping Greg Byrne all around that I don't love us, because I do. I want DeBoer to do good. I want Alabama to do good. But most of all, this is an illusion. This is not even reality. Most of all, I want you to do good. Listen, we hear about all the bad in this world. And when my Aunt Mary called me a negative Nancy, I realized I'm tore up in too much negativism. I'm always talking negative. I always thinking negative. It's time to think positive. Them good people out there, do good. Spit the devil in the eye. If you're good, be good. And the good will rule out the bad, just like it did in my heart. I love Greg Byrne. I love Kalen DeBoer. I've been changed. You be changed too. Be positive, not negative. And remember, it's just a game. Don't be like me and Bear. Plum Sports Insane.
Welcome in, everybody. It's time for Kipper Perspective on this starting lineup on this Saturday morning. We are excited about the future, the very near future coming up. Got some exciting announcements today. Of course, I was donating this segment to talk about the Preakness, the second jewel of the Triple Crown. Most of you know, who have followed me throughout my journey on Birmingham media, that I've been involved in the racing and gaming, casino gaming, horse racing, greyhound racing, and now we've got a new kid on the block in terms of the operations of things in that category, and it's sports betting. It's really blowing up, of course, becoming a major player on the landscape, and all of the last bunch of years, I've devoted my time to being on the regulatory side of things as opposed to the operational side where I started. And in regulation, right now, we've got kind of a big merger going on. Everything's kind of falling under one umbrella of state gaming agencies as opposed to racing commissions. And the sports betting industry looking to our organizations to kind of give them some structures. This is a big money player that's on the landscape now, and it's here to stay. Believe me, it is driving a lot of the decision making. And as I began to talk about the Preakness this week and think about what I wanted to tell you, it occurs to me that right now, horse racing, which I've been involved with, ironically, this race is at Laurel on later this afternoon, not Pimlico, which is now under reconstruction and refurbishment. So Laurel, a track that I first attended with my dad when I was 5 years old, We used to go just about every Saturday. He'd give me a hot dog and a program, bet me a couple dollars to show when I wasn't even in the first grade yet. So I got indoctrinated really, really early. But my thoughts are, it's so sad that horse racing right now is undergoing a transitional period where the Triple Crown is becoming irrelevant. And the reason it's irrelevant is because of this middle jewel, the Preakness. And it's not the Preakness itself that is the problem. The problem is where it falls on the calendar just 2 weeks after the Derby and just 3 weeks before the Belmont. That's 3 races in 3 different states at 3 different distances on 3 different surfaces. They're all on dirt, but all the surfaces at every track is different. That's 3 races in 5 weeks. You have to win you have to win all 3 to win the Triple Crown. It doesn't happen very often. Justified did it in 2018, but then he never ran again. You've got a whole different atmosphere, a whole different era now in horse racing. And it struck me that after being in that business all these years, and my alternative kind of go along industry, of course, has been the sports business. Being involved in sports media here in Birmingham and all around the country in various capacities in radio and TV. College football, which is I've specialized in, has so many correlations to what's happening in racing. Economics is driving every decision now. And it's causing both those sports, both the industries that I'm involved in, both the industries that I love, to be in kind of disarray at the moment because the economics are driving decisions. The reason you don't have hardly any horses of note in the Preakness coming up, and I'll have a pick for you right at the end of the segment, is because these horses are too valuable, both as racers and in their breeding careers, to risk running them 3 times in 5 weeks. These aren't the horses from the 1940s and 50s that were trained to run. They could pull a plow while they were running. They were in such great shape. These horses are babied and really taken care of. I'm waxing too poetic, but the correlations between that and college football is the same thing. Players are now compensated. Everything is driven by TV decisions. It's all about economics. So I'm thrilled today to come to you and tell you Kip Keefer Sports now has a significant seat at the table in both of these enterprises, and they kind of run at the same on the same trajectory with the inclusion now of sports betting, which is of course common to both. I have been recently named to the board of directors of the Association of Racing Commissioners International that's going to be making a lot of the decisions about racing moving forward. And things like this Triple Crown situation, people say, I want it to go back to like it was when all the horses ran in all 3 races. Folks, it's not going back. Economics won't allow that. It's a new landscape. We got to craft new directions. Same thing for college football. We're not going back. And in college football, I've also got a seat at the table now because Kip Keefer Sports will be a participant, an active participant this year at SEC Media Days in Tampa. We are becoming involved in all aspects, and I'm thrilled to tell you that we are going to be in all of these things the voice of the fans. And you are going to be with us every step of the way. We've got major events in Atlanta, later on in Tampa, both in July. We're going to be in Las Vegas for a huge sports betting convention. We're going to be going to Saratoga for the racing commissioners meetings to talk about the future of horse racing. And you are going to be there every step of the way because everything we do is going to be chronicled and shown right here on the starting lineup and on all of our social media platforms. It's going to be your entry to being behind the scenes and looking at the real decision makers in these big time sports and activities that we all love. And I'm excited to tell you that you are in the starting lineup officially on board for all of those journeys that we're going to have coming up. And then when football season starts, we're going to be out with you at events. We're going to be having events every week. We're going to be at tailgates. We're going to be at big games in town, in Tuscaloosa, at Auburn, all through the Southeast. It's going to be great. Real quick in the Preakness today, number 5, Talkin', ridden by Irad Ortiz Jr., the best jockey in the world. He ran second to his brother in the Kentucky Derby, Jose Ortiz. The Ortiz brothers own the world. We just live in it. But I think Irad turns the tables today. Danny Gargan, a great trainer who's already won a Triple Crown race with Dornick at the Belmont a couple of years ago, number 5. And you got to give Jose, who's red hot, on number 6, Chip Honcho, a horse that I threw out before the Derby as a possible sleeper. He was scratched from that race. 5 and 6 are my picks, and I like the 1 and the 2, the 10 and the 11. So play exactas, $5, 5, 6 with 1, 2, 10, 11, and you'll be in the smiling line cashing. That's Kip Perspective. You're in the starting lineup for the whole journey. We can't wait for an outstanding 2026.
Birmingham Racecourse Casino starting lineup. What y'all will watch this weekend? We got a lot of great sports on, including a little horse race going on, huh?
The Preakness, I'm going to have a lot of thoughts, on that. Watching it, you just watched Kip Perspective, found out my picks, so I'm really in the column of number 5. Talkin' is my top pick in the Preakness. We'll see how he does today.
That'd be another good horse that I could pick just because that's what I do for a living. Right?
There you go.
I went with Golden Tempo because I was a rock and roll kind of guy, and talking may be something good for a sports talk guy. A guy's been talking out as you know what for 40-something 5 years. What are you going to be doing this weekend, Legend?
Well, we had game time this morning from 8 to 10 on Jocks. Had another great show. Many fine bomb callers and many of the great callers around the city of Birmingham who are now participating in the most craziest, informative Kip and the Legend show in America. They call us the Mike and the Mad Dog of the South. Me and Kip on Saturday mornings. Tune in every Saturday morning from 8 to 10. This weekend, I will also be going to my gym for the first time. I got a gym membership. I got a trainer. And by football season, I'm going to be looking good, baby.
Hey, we got to give a shout out to David Sears, who's with us today, one of our producers from Game Time. Does a fantastic job. He's in the studio with us today on the starting lineup.
He's been working with me for about 2-3 years, and you got yourself a good one right there. He's one of the best, man. He's always thinking of some great ideas. He's going to be just a welcome addition to the Kip Keefer legacy, if you will, to everything you're trying to charge over there. I'm going to get ready for the SEC baseball tournament.
Oh, man, I can't wait.
I can't wait for that to go on next week, something me and my boy always like to do. We got the PGA tournament going on. We got the horse racing going on. Unfortunately, my horse will not be racing, but I'll be going with talking. But this time of the year, again, a little over 100 days, feels like 100 years till college football. And so now's the time to kind of like expand ourselves a little, because once college football does get here, man, it's nothing but college football. Period. Done until basketball starts. And so in the meantime, we can go and watch some horse racing, watch some bowling tournaments. Maybe I'll watch me a little pickleball. Maybe I'll go watch you work out at the gym.
Yeah,
Hey,
we're going to get some footage on that.
I'm doing an Olympic run for the Legend.
So we have to see how many.
You see, I'm in the spirit. I'm in the.
You know what we got to do before we start? Seriously, we got to start this. If we got a couple minutes right now, we got to see how many burpees you can do right now until you puke, and then see how many you can do at the end of football season to see how far you've come.
What the hell is a burpee?
You know the burpees when you go down on the ground, you kick your legs out, you go back out.
I'll tell you, won't you show us first, and then I'll.
Next week on the starting lineup.
See how many Tony Curry can do.
Kip, Tony, and the Legend doing Berkeys next week right here on the starting
I'm good
lineup.
at farties, but not burpees. So I can do some of that.
You don't have to convince me. I sit next to you every week.
Pull my finger. We'll be back next week right here in the Birmingham Racecourse and Casino starting lineup.